Okay, so this is the part 2 of the video that I previously made about resealing the vent flaps for a Mitsubishi Montero 98 AC vent flaps. Um, and on the process, what I found out was that this car didn't have an air cabin filter fitted from factory. So this was covered with plastic. So I used a knife to cut this out and install an air filter that I purchased, which is this one, and it fits right in there. All right, so once I install that, then the air coming from the exterior will, or even from inside the cabin, will be filtered out before it reaches the evap. When I cut this out, I noticed that the evaporator was really dirty, so I vacuumed it, and I also brushed it with these and old toothbrush too. So it with the vacuum and all that, it really helped getting a lot of stuff there and clean it out good. As you can see, it looks pretty clean now, and inside there too. So next step was to oh, I found this tape. It was hard to find where I live, but I finally found some, and it's like a rubber tape. So I hear it's not the best one. The best one is supposed to be spongy, but I guess that one will do for now. And I fitted this part here with tape, and now the only thing that I need to do is to install this part, which is where the vent flaps are. In the process, I found out that this is not a heater. It controls the speed for the fan, for that one, with this speed. Okay, so that it controls the speed for the fan. And also inside here, this little cover that I had removed, that I thought I could put a filter there, is actually maybe to replace the temperature sensor, which is that one right there. So I guess they made that little door there for easy access to replace that. So yeah, the filter will go here. So let me show you what I did with the flaps. This box goes right in there. And what I did was I also used that tape to fit this part here, which will match that part inside up there. And the flaps, the problem with the flaps was that they would still let the air from the exterior come in. So what I did was I fitted them with the tape, like as you can see in there too. But on this side, with just one coat of tape, it would still leave gaps, especially right in there in the very back there. So what I did is I framed it. I did like a little square frame, rectangular frame around the flap to allow the actually to cover up the little gaps that were left on both upper corners, but leaving a little bit of space at the very end of each flap, as you can see right there, so that it doesn't interfere when it meets the plastic part here. So it seals good right there. Okay, if you put the tape all the way to the end of the flap, then it would interfere with closing here, and then it will leave a gap in the back. So just make sure you leave a little bit of a space there so that the flap meets this part, plastic part, and then the little frame can seal properly. So flaps have been covered with tape, and all I gotta do now is install this. In my previous video, when I removed this box, I noticed that it was a good idea to take the box apart and remove the flaps because they were covered in old glue from the previous tape. So what I did is I sanded the flaps, and I also sanded these pins that go from here all the way to the other side right there, because they were a little rusty. And also this cover, which was metal, or is metal, was not painted, and it was a little rusty too, so I sanded that too, and I painted it white. Flaps were also painted white. And yeah, so now it's completely clean. Metal parts painted, flaps are painted and refitted with brand new rubber tape, which will seal perfectly and will prevent the air and smoke smells from coming from the exterior into the cabin when setting to recycle. And also the new filter will help a lot to clean the air when it passes from there to there. So now it's time to install everything, and I will make a third video part to let you guys know how it went. Alright everyone, so mission successful. After a couple hours, I managed to put everything back together. This thing fit perfectly. Mechanism works great. This is where the filter, new filter, cabin filter is that I had to put in, that was not fitted from factory. I had to take off this part of the filter because the filter I found was too large. I had to cut a little bit off of the filter, and this part would stick out and interfere. There's also no space for the bolts here to put a bolt or a screw. If you screw one here, it'll perforate the evap. So the only screw that I could manage to put on was this one right here, but instead I just managed to remove this, and I just put some more of that tape here to seal it completely. And if you want to replace the filter, you just take this off, put a new filter in, and put some more of that tape back on, unless you find a more suitable air filter that could fit in better. But this one did the job. It was a little uncomfortable to put this thing back on, but I would recommend that if you do this, first you disassemble it, take off this half first, and then remove the second half. Same thing to put it back on, because it's more flexible and maneuverable to put on. The rest was very easy. I had a little bit of trouble with a screw up here, which I mentioned on the first video. It's a little uncomfortable to put on, but once you screw it back on, then there's no problem putting everything back on. You need to raise this thing up so that it fits here. It matches the vents. So it's a little uncomfortable to hold it. You might stick something up there. I just hold it with one hand and screw the other one. Screw the bolt with the other one. But everything works perfect. So there's no air gaps. System works great. Let me show you. Let's use one of these so I can show you that there's no air filtering out. Doors are open. Let me see. Alright. So behaving. No wind blowing through here. The gaps there are sealed. I didn't replace them with spongy tape because it's supposed to be spongy to let that moisture out, not that you get mold. So this one I managed to was in pretty good shape. The other one I replaced was the one from the top up there and from the flaps. It's perfect. No air filtration anywhere. So I'm pretty happy with the job. It was a little difficult, but it paid up in the end because you didn't have to remove the whole dash. So yep, that's about it, guys.